Hello, and welcome to another episode of Fibre Mates. My name is Gay. I'm a knitting technical editor based in Melbourne, Australia, and this is my podcast where I introduce new mates in the fibre industry here in Australia. I'm recently back from a trip to Perth, so I'll start today by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which this interview was recorded, the Noongar people, and pay my respects to their elders, past and present. I was in Perth for about a week and a half, so I felt so lucky that I was able to catch up with a lot of my friends in WA, including Danny. Hi, Danny, from A Knitter's Suitcase, and Kelly from Calico and Ivy. Hi, Kelly. And I was especially thankful that I was able to organize this interview. I have seen and admired Cable Tie Knits on Instagram, and to see some of Amy's colors in person and get to know her style and process and how she thinks about color was really fun. So I hope you enjoy this interview with Amy Dent from Cable Tie Knits. Hello, I am here with the amazing Amy Dent.
Hello.
Hi, Amy. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
Welcome to Fibre Mates. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
For those of you who don't know Amy, Amy is the creator behind Cable Tie Knits, an indie dye company here in Perth. So Amy, first thing we normally do on Fibre Mates is lightning round. Are you ready?
Sure.
Okay. Coffee or tea?
I actually had a really lengthy conversation about this with my husband because I'm like, how do I choose? And my knee-jerk reaction has always been tea, but I think now it's coffee. I think now it's coffee.
All right, we can unpack that later.
Yeah.
Which do you prefer, dark, neutral colors or neons?
I'm kind of in between. So I don't love neutrals and I don't super love neons, but I do like bright colors and contrasts. So I'm kind of somewhere in the middle of those options.
All right. If you were a knitting or crochet stitch, which one would you be?
Well, I think I'd be a cable stitch.
I love it. I love it.
That's my favorite type of knitting from quite early on. So it's one of my business is named after cable stitches. So that's definitely up there for me.
Okay.
But yeah, it's hard to choose because I do now really love brioche stitch as well. So
I reckon I might be brioche. If somebody asked me, I'd be that a bark yarn over bark.
I do like a burp and a bark. It's like it's quite fun when I like going through a pattern in my brain, going burp bark. But yeah, I think I've got to stay true to my cable.
Okay. So let's talk about, people might not be aware of Cable Tie Knits.
Probably not. I'm very small. I'm very little business.
That's okay. We love small business here on Fibre Mates. So you're located in Perth.
Yes.
But how did you get started dyeing yarn?
It was a little bit of a rabbit hole. So I was on maternity leave, and I now realise that I probably have ADHD. So I'm always looking for something new to be doing. And I had already had a small business, not very successful, doing cross stitches.
Okay.
And I had sold a few. I actually sold one to be a movie prop in a Spider-Man movie, which was a bizarre thing that happened. So that wasn't really taking off. And I thought I'd had a baby, and so I was making a lot of baby beanies and things like that.
Yes.
And I thought, maybe I could move into doing hand knits instead. Mm-hmm. And a friend of mine commissioned a couple of beanies from me. So I made those and I thought, this is what I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. And that's why there's a knits on the end of my business name, because originally it was going to be a hand knits business.
Okay.
And then I thought, well, maybe the way that they'll be special is that I'll make them with hand-dyed yarn.
Yeah.
So I started looking into hand-dyed yarns, and then I just kept going down the rabbit hole and going, oh, I could dye them myself, and they could be my dyed yarn and my beanies. So I went and did a course, and then I was like, oh no, this is the thing.
Okay.
The dyeing is the thing that's going to make me really happy. So I started doing the dyeing, and I thought still these were just going to be for me to make things with.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought, well, why not just cut out the middleman and sell the yarn directly?
Okay.
That's kind of where it started.
Where did you take your course?
I did the dyeing with Stitchcraft.
With Anna.
Yeah, yes.
Yes.
And like as I say, originally I was like, I was just did it to, it's something to do, it's a new hobby, and maybe I can just do a few little bits here and there.
Yes.
And then I did the thing, and then I was like, oh, this was really fun. It ticks a lot of things in my brain, because I have a very logical brain, but I am also quite creative. So it's part science, it's part maths, it's part creativity, art. So it just like sort of scratched a lot of itches for me that I was kind of coming up to the end of 2 years of maternity leave and kind of feeling like I need to use my brain a little bit.
Yes. Yes.
And so it just started from there. And then as soon as I did it the one time, I was like, yeah, I've got to start setting it up at home and start dyeing for myself more than anything. And then it kind of just went from there. There's only so much you can dye for yourself before you end up with a big pile of yarn and know where to put it.
Yes.
So I think it would have gotten to a point, particularly with my husband, where it would have been like, this stuff has to go. It's got to go. Needs to find a new home.
I think many husbands could probably relate.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of storage space, I'll be honest, but yeah, we're squeezing it in at the moment.
Yeah. Okay. And sorry, that was Anna from Stitchcraft and Wizardry.
Yes, that's right.
So I'll just we'll give her a shout out because we love Anna.
Yeah, it was amazing.
So how do you decide what colors to dye?
I find a lot of things in just nature. I take a lot of photos when I see something that's particularly just like a color combination or a flower or a sunset, things like that I think, oh, that would make a really great color.
Yeah.
I also take my real job, I suppose, my paid job. I work in a library, so a lot of stuff comes from like literature or inspiration from like those kinds of books and things like that, characters, and then like I've just done a previous collection last year or the year before, time is weird, where it was inspired by a TV show called Our Flag Means Death, which just had some incredible colours in it.
What was it called?
It's called Our Flag Means Death. It's a pirate comedy show. It's great. You should all watch it. But the costumes and just the way that it was staged was just like, as soon as I finished watching it, I turned to my husband and was like, I've got to turn that into yarn because it is like the colours were insane. I brought some with me today.
Okay, I'll have a look
to show you, but yeah, things like that, just things that kind of jump out at you as like, oh, that would be a really great. Doesn't even have to be a color. It could be just like, oh, that idea could be translated into. So I've got a few that I've got a color called honey bread, which is inspired by my toddler's at the time favorite food, which was literally just bread and honey. You would call it honey bread. So yeah, there's just anything really day to day.
I have a feeling I would like that color.
Yeah, it is good. I don't even know if I have any left, to be honest. I think I might have sold the last couple, but I'll have to do it again. But it was really popular. I've got one called Apricot Delight because it was inspired by the treat.
Yes.
But yeah, a lot of it's food as well. Like a lot of my solids are named after food, and I don't know. You just sort of, I have like a notes app on my phone that I'm just constantly updating if I think of something around the day. So there's a lot of different places you can get inspiration from.
I was just gonna say, you can get it from the most everyday objects, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm going to digress a minute and go back to your library connection.
Yeah.
Because I love my library.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
For craft books.
Yeah.
I don't know that people are aware of the vast amounts of knitting book. Well, I particularly looking at the knitting books, but even crochet, other fiber arts, macrame.
Yeah, we've got everything.
Books on color, sewing.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of the books that I find at work really inspiring for dyeing are more watercolor, painting books, how to paint, how like color theory books are really great for that as well, like showing different complementary or contrasting colors together. It's really handy resource. It's not just looking at the knitting and books, and there's like so many. I also really love the library. Not just because I work there. I work there because I love the library, I guess.
Yeah, but library fans here, definitely.
Yeah. And there's usually a craft group at your local library as well. I used to run one back when I worked full time before maternity leave. I ran a craft group on a Tuesday night, and that was so good. It was my highlight of my week, getting to sit down with a bunch of ladies, and we just got to craft, and it was amazing. So COVID kind of ruined all of that a little bit, so they haven't come back in the numbers, but there's still a small group going at my library at Karrinyup. And we also have things like craft, leave what you want, take what you need, kind of like free libraries where people can like bring their excess craft materials that they don't want to chuck away, but someone else might be able to use, so that gets used really frequently, and people leave patterns or like sewing patterns or old books, and there's some incredible like 80s vintage knitting, the little pamphlets and stuff. There is really, I'm always like looking through it being like, what treasures are in here today.
My mum has a craft group. I know a knitting circle at her library. I actually don't know if my library has that.
They might.
Have to do a bit
they might. And if not, they're mostly really into starting them. If there's a need for it in the community, if someone were to say, want to start one up, and can I have it here? You'll almost always get a yes.
All right, so there's something to think about.
It's a good free space.
Sorry, we're off topic now. I've got to get us back on track. Hold on, where are we going? What is your favorite aspect of being an indie dyer?
I definitely like having a lot of yarn on hand. That's very
doesn't?
Good. I can just start a new project whenever I want, and again, the ADHD really wants me to constantly be starting a new project. I try not to. But I think my absolute favorite thing is the physical markets, like going and actually being in front of people and getting them to experience it in their hands is really great. Being an online only business it's hard to get across what the product is a little bit, and like the accuracy of the colors is really hard to grab with photos, and people just really like touching it.
That tactile experience of yarn shopping is,
if you can feel it and go, oh, this is a good thing, I want to be touching this for 20 hours making a project. It's really good, and getting to talk to people and get that community back and forth is really nice. When I'm completely alone, it's a one-person show, so it's like 99% of the time it's just me alone in my garage, with my headphones in, just like focused on what I'm doing. So it is nice to then take it and show it to people. So that's probably my favorite part.
Fantastic. Well, what do you find most challenging about it?
The social media stuff is real hard for me. I find it very hard to market myself. I don't necessarily love being the face of something. I much prefer the product to be the thing that people look at rather than me. But I know that's sort of part of it, and I need to maybe push myself out of my comfort zone as I'm doing today.
I was just going to say, you're here with me, becoming my mate.
And maybe saying yes to a few more of those sort of opportunities, and maybe just getting over myself a little bit about it.
I reckon you need a stall at the Australian Sheep and Wool Show.
I actually looked at it this year. I was like, how much would it actually cost to get over there and stuff? But maybe next year. Maybe that's a really good goal for 2026.
Stretch goal.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I did even look at it this year and go, oh, it'd be really nice to get over there and, you know, be immersed in it a little bit more, because there's not really a lot in Perth anymore in terms of actual craft focused events like that. 2J shut down last year.
I know,
and,
I was going to come.
I only got to go to that one time and it was the best.
I was going to go.
I loved it. So I was really sad that we couldn't do it this year.
Me too.
Yeah, I hope it comes back in some fashion, or someone else steps into that space, because there's not really anything other than, you know, your smaller local markets. There's not a lot of those like big crowd drawing things anymore in Perth. So
no, and I would have thought that there would be some scope for like farm yarn in WA, because there's look, I'm probably speaking completely out of turn, but lots of farms here. WA is a pretty big place.
I'm always seeing sheep when you're driving around. They're probably not wool sheep, but
well, who knows? Because we always like to think about different breeds too. I mean, I love a merino, but
so I really hope maybe in the next couple of years something, I don't know, starts up again, because like the crafting and knitting and crochet in particular has really taken off since COVID, and a lot of new people have come into the craft, so it would be nice to you know, have more community stuff that we can all get together and celebrate. And
I've lived in Perth for 6 years, so I know it is an isolated, it's not isolating, but it's isolated from it feels isolated from the rest of the country somewhat.
Yeah, definitely. And they're even like traveling to eastern states and doing things like that is like, it's pretty,
well, there's the logistics.
It's a significant, like, the logistics of it would be quite tricky if you were in Perth. So so it would be nice to have something more local. But
I'm going to put you in touch with somebody who I think can help you work through the logistics.
Okay, cool. So that would be great.
We'll use our Fibre Mates connections.
Help is always appreciated.
How do you select your bases?
This is something that I've kind of gone through last year of trying to think of expanding my base line, because I pretty much have started with the very basic ones, things that I know people want. It was the main thing, and then in, you know, a couple of weights. So what I have at the moment is a lot of just like your 100%, and then like your sock yarns and things that are like utilitarian stuff that everybody needs. And then the few times where I've kind of like expanded out of that, it's been very clear that those base ones are the things that people want. So it's a lot of it's a financial investment to expand into another one, because you do have to buy them in bulk, and if they don't sell, then they're just sitting in your house. But there are so many bases that I would really love to put in stock.
What would be your dream base?
I've been testing a few that are like a linen blend, which I really like. Like it makes a really interesting color, which is very different to anything else. Like it has a lovely sort of like heathered feel to it, because the linen doesn't take the dye. So that's really beautiful, and it's very, you know, it's more lightweight, because that's the other thing I'm thinking about with Perth is like,
of course,
it's very hot all the time. For the most of the year it's really hot, so and obviously I can't dye cotton with this dye, so it's a completely different setup. So I'm thinking if I move into a slightly more temperate yarn base that is like a half measure between a full wool and something that's closer to a lighter weight cotton kind of thing, and linen is great for that. It's a really beautiful finish to it, and then the more you sort of wear it and wash it and wear it, it gets softer, and it just sort of, it wears really well. So I'm toying around with that as a product as well. And I do also have some like suri and mohair. I brought one today. of the Suri base that I've got. But again, it's one that I've only done for collections where it's been like a pre-order and I know exactly how much of it I'll need. So it's not just sitting on hand. It's a little bit harder to dye because it is temperamental and you've got to be very careful and not agitate it too much or you end up with a mess.
Oh, gosh.
It's got to be heated and cooled very slowly, whereas, you know, like your superwash kind of yarns are a little bit easier to dye.
More forgiving.
Yeah, more forgiving with the process and the heat and movement. So it's a learning curve. Each new base is like you've got to kind of work out the quirks of it a little bit and how to treat it, how it takes the dye, because they take the dye very differently depending on
especially
the fibre content.
Plant-based fibres.
Yeah. So it's still a learning process, but I'm really happy with the core ones that I have.
Yeah.
I name them alphabetically, so like the like the phonetic alphabet. So like Alpha, Bravo, Charlie. So that's how I kind of, each new one gets the next designation.
Yeah.
So I think I'm up to Echo within bases, but not all of them are in the shop. So it's a process. It's a little bit of a slow process for me, but
that's okay. Let's do some market research. Hey, put in the comment what your favorite base is and what your dream base would be if you could knit with any fiber at all. How about that? And then we'll collect some data points.
That would be very interesting.
Right. Yeah, I think that'd be a fun poll to do. So if you have time to drop a comment in. Well, let's see some of them. Hey,
yay!
Because I can't wait to talk about this. We'll get there.
So what I brought with me was some yarns from the last collection that I did, which was the Agnes Death one. What I've got left of it anyway. I don't have a huge amount left. So they all are named after a character or a scene or a plot point.
I'm immediately drawn to this one.
Yes.
Hanging by a thread. Oh, that feels pretty apt right now. But that's got some gorgeous, I love these plum colors.
Yes, yeah, same. I definitely gravitate towards that sort of reds and like deeper purples and things as well.
I'm going to try that weird podcaster thing where I just hold it up here so you can see, and block us out and you can see this variegation. Yeah. And so this is is that DK? That looks DK,
there's a bit of a range of the bases here because I don't have everything left. So that's my Aran Weight.
Ooh.
Base. That's 100%
that is so
merino, that one.
I wish you could feel this. It's like so puffy.
It's very
like
plush. Like it's got a bit of air in it almost.
Yes.
Yeah.
You wear fine things well. You're great. Great name.
If you know the show, you'll know what these mean.
Love this one, Jeff the Accountant. I don't know if this color's pretty exciting.
This is my all-time favorite one I've ever dyed. As soon as it came out of the pot, I was like, this is it. Hang up my hat, I'm done.
The color to end all colors.
Yeah, it's like when you have an idea in your head and you try to get it out, and most of the time it doesn't look like how you imagined it. This one came out and I was like, oh, this is exactly how I imagined it was supposed to look.
Yep.
First time.
Yeah.
Which never happens, ever. It's usually like 3 or 4 goes before it's like, yeah, that's it. That's the one.
That's awesome.
This one is a good example of 3 or 4
too.
or 5 goes before before it came out.
What's that color?
This one is called We Need to Be a Lighthouse. And I was trying to make it like a watercolor vibe. Yeah, so I actually
Achieved.
This one, and it was a process of going, well, how do I make it work without, because it's also got like greens and reds in it, which don't mix very well. If they touch, they turn brown, so you end up with a really muddy color. So it took a lot of trial and error for that one.
But can I say, for somebody who is a summer like me, I had my colors done.
Yes,
muted colors.
That's your ideal.
There
you go.
Right. How's that look? Does it brighten up my face?
We'll do a color thing. So like that was a process of dyeing with the yarn dry, and dry dye. So
Ooh.
which I had never done before. So it's like laying it out and sprinkling the dye on dry on dry, and then getting a hose essentially and spraying it down. And it just sort of, the colours stayed where they were supposed to, and it didn't work the first time, but then I was like, okay, I think I know what I've done wrong here.
Okay.
And then I tried it again and it works. So yeah, there's a lot of trial and error. There are so many different ways to dye that you're just sort of trying things, and sometimes it works. Sometimes you think the thing that you want is what you want, and then you try it and it's abysmal, and sometimes you go, oh, this didn't work. You hate it, and then you put it out for sale anyway and people love it. So it's really it's really hard to know.
Yeah.
There's almost like no such thing as a mistake, because
100%.
someone will like it,
I
and
think-
worst case you can just dye over it. So
Yeah, I think other indie dyers that I've spoken to have a similar ethos about that.
Yeah.
No, there's no mistakes,
Yeah.
because somebody will love the color even if you don't like it.
Yeah.
Because color's so personal.
Exactly. And there's been a few where I've made a mistake and it's turned out fantastic, and I've gone, how do I recreate that now? Because I'm not sure why that happened. And then you've got to try and like work backwards a little bit and figure out where you went wrong to make it right. Yeah, it's a real brain teaser sometimes.
Here's this one. I know, I love this.
So yes, this is the Suri alpaca base, and it's called Gentleman Pirate. This is the one from this collection that I've used the most personally, because it's really, and I've only got this one skein left, other than the project I'm working on at the moment has it in it. But yeah, I love it.
I love Suri as an alternative to mohair.
Same. I think I'm a little bit allergic to alpaca.
Oh.
Also, every time I do use mohair, I get very itchy hands.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I for some reason the Suri just works better for me.
Yeah.
And mohair doesn't. But I don't know, I like it. It just sort of fluffs up a bit more, and I find it sheds a bit less.
Oh, that's true.
Than mohair does.
That's true. That's beautiful. And then what are the other ones?
We've got Never Left, which is a little bit of a stripy one. It's not a proper true like self-striping, but if you were to make socks with one like this, it does give you like a micro stripe, which is quite effective.
Could you use it as like an assigned pooling?
You probably could. If you were good at the maths, which I'm not. You definitely could, because it is like is dyed in like one colour at the top, one colour at the bottom, and it meets in the middle.
And this is another one of my my new colors.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're almost wearing it today. This is called Passive Aggression. So that's one of the tonals in the collection.
I love it.
And then we've got the Kiss, which is a speckly green with a bit of brown as well. And one that, again, I have used personally is this one's called Steed, which is the main character from the show. And he's got this incredible teal suit that is like his signature colour. So I do like a bright colour as well. So that's Steed.
Fantastic. Do you have any other goodies to show?
I've got a bunch of shawls.
Let's talk about shawls, because
I've discovered that I am a shawl knitter. Who knew?
Here, let's hold this one up, because first of all, this is probably my favorite Stephen West shawl, and this color combination is exquisite. Look at this.
Yeah.
Talk us through the process for this shawl, because it started with dyeing the colors.
Yes, so I dyed the colours for this one for specifically this project, and it was right at the beginning of when I started the business. It was probably, I started it in September, and the mystery knit along is in October, so it was like very early days. And I thought, oh, I'll give it a go. I probably won't be able to make this.
Oh my god, I'll give it a go. Look at this.
Because even though I have been knitting for a very long time, I'd always kind of considered myself to be a adventurous beginner or a maybe intermediate. So
when did you start knitting?
Probably it's about 7 or 8 years old.
Oh.
But on and off. There were long periods where I also cross stitched, so I would do that for years and then go, oh, I'm sick of that, I'll pick up knitting again, and kind of switch back and forth between the two. But and I'd just gotten through a very big period of cross stitch, just constantly cross stitching. And then obviously I picked up knitting again, and now I'm knit all the time. It's just, it's become an obsession. But I thought this would be a really good way to showcase some colours and also to practice dyeing colours. That I like to try and actually get a colour that I want. So again, it took a few goes for some of these to come out the way I wanted them to. And then I just, looking back, if I had seen this, I would never even tried to do it. I think the nature of just doing it one small piece at a time really appealed to me, and going, well, that's manageable. I can do one little chunk. And if I can get through that, then I can get through the next little chunk. Whereas, if I'd seen it finished product, I would have gone, no, absolutely not.
This was my first MCAL as well, and I feel the same. I feel like this one in particular had really manageable sections. I mean, the border was a beast, right? Because
gosh, it was. It took me so. That's probably. That and the crisscrosses were just
crisscrosses, because I think
I'm
I had
sure
to
do a crisscross again.
I think I had to unpick all the crisscrosses because I was off by like a really noticeable amount. So I did the crisscrosses probably at least twice.
Oh no, that's awful. It was so fiddly. But I just did it one little bit at a time, and then was just constantly surprised at myself being able to do it. And then there's mistakes. There's, that's my first time ever doing brioche as well. And there's definitely some errors in there. And I thought, no, I'm not a brioche knitter. But then I've just done it again recently, and I'm like, oh, this is easy now. Because I do feel like this shawl in particular leveled up my knitting significantly.
No, I think it's a common experience with this project.
So I felt amazing. Like, oh yeah, cool. I'm not a beginner anymore. I can definitely tackle some other things, and then I have gone on to tackle some other things, but I think I will always probably do the knit along, the mystery knit along, just because it is kind of like it felt like a really significant turning point for me with my knitting. And also just like being a little bit more confident in saying, oh, I'm good at this.
For sure.
So I've done quite a few of his shawls now as well, because I do just really like the way he writes his patterns. They're very easy to follow. They're very clear. I don't like things that are a little bit open to interpretation, because I will make mistakes, or I'll second guess what I'm doing and go, I don't know if this is right. So I've gone on to do quite a few of his. And I actually won, one of them won the shawl prize at the Perth Royal Show. So
amazing. Do you have that one?
I do.
Let's see it. I want the
where is she? Here she is.
Oh my.
So this one's the Aurora cabin shawl. It's a beast. But again, I would never have even tried to attempt a shawl like this a couple of years ago. So
all right, so I want to make one now. How many colors are in it?
5. 5?
1, 2, 3,
5, I think.
4.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So these are all my yarns as well. But I really loved this one. The process of making it was really satisfying. It's a lot easier than it looks as well. I thought it was going to, obviously these sections that repeat look terrifying. Yeah. But that was quite an easy repeat once you sort of get your head around it up the top. Really fun. A really fun one to do.
Just exquisite.
So yeah, that was the winner. Not last year before. I got a highly commended this year for the because this is the Fibre knit along that happens every Boxing Day. It starts on Boxing Day.
Yes.
So I did the next year's one as well, and that's what I entered last year, but didn't win. Didn't win that one. But I have brought that one as well.
Yes, let's see it. Because
we still like
highly commendable is highly commendable.
Yeah, it was.
Let's be honest.
This last year's competition was a lot tougher. I actually wore this one last night.
Oh my gosh.
To the it's huge. It's hard to see.
It's again exquisite.
So this top section is that one, obviously on a different base, but that's the Gentleman Pirate up the top there, and then the rest of it was a club that I got from Ash and Eve Designs, which was the fire, stunning yarns. Was the Firefly club, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4 colours from that club, and they all just worked so perfectly together with that slight gradient.
Let's pause there and talk about that, because I feel like you can blend yarns from different dyers.
Yeah, 100%. And they're even like different bases. So all of the Ash and Eve ones were on a cashmere base, and the only skein I had left at the top was 100% merino one. So you can definitely mix and match within, whatever you've got on hand. For a lot of things, so
incredible.
Yeah, and this one's probably I feel like this is the hardest thing I've ever knit.
Really,
so I did feel a little bit robbed this year, but only because I knew that this was really hard. This was really hard for me. I find lace a bit, my brain, yeah. That's probably the most challenging thing for me is lace sections, but. I also had such a good time knitting this that every time I made a mistake, I was like, that's fine. I'll just go back and I'll just do it again because I'm having such a good time. Normally I'm like, if I make a mistake and have to go back and fix it, I'm like, I'm ready to put it in the bin.
Yeah.
But this one I was like, no, it's fine. I'm going to enjoy knitting it the second time. So I think this is the first thing I've ever made that has 0 mistakes, because I went back and I fixed every single one. But I love it.
It's
so
gorgeous.
Yeah, I wore this last night to the ballet. Because that's the other thing, is like you make all these shawls, but when do you ever have a chance to wear them?
I know. When you go to the ballet.
When you go to the ballet and it's a little bit of a chillier night. So
I'm putting them all on the back of my couch as well.
Yeah, well, originally with this one, I was like, I'm never going to wear this. It's really thick.
It's very thick.
It's quite big. I think because of these sections, they're quite bulky. And I thought, I'm never going to really be able to wear this one because it's not cold enough. It'd be cold maybe a couple of weeks a year, cold enough to wear it. So I was like, maybe it'd be a nice throw on the back of the couch.
Absolutely. Or you can wear it when you come to Bendigo.
That's true.
You will need it.
I'll need it. That's very true. We do go camping down in Albany most years, so that's usually the only time I'm like, I'll pack something nice and warm.
Yeah. I'm just in awe. I'm in awe. I need more.
But I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with shawls now. Unfortunately, I almost can't get anything else. I'll finish off with my last West Nets one. So this is the twists and turns.
I love pink and green together.
And I feel like this one was a bit of a controversial one. It was like a love or hate one.
Yeah.
But I loved it.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. I think it's the one I wear the most. I think the shape of it is more functional because it's like a giant scarf as opposed to a shawl.
Look at these, how that came out, the eye cords through the cables.
And I thought that was just really clever.
Sorry, I'm going to hold that up in that weird podcaster way too, so you can see this.
And I appreciated getting to do cables. I really did. Because it had been a little while since I'd done anything with cables in it because I'd been making all of these things. Mm-hmm. So I really appreciated that.
Now, were these your colours as well?
These are, yeah. So this
teal.
dark teal is one of my original colourways from my very first launch when I opened the shop. It's called Kingfisher. And then I've got, that one's called Honeydew. And the pink is called Pink Grapefruit.
This teal is the teal of dreams.
I love teal. Teal is teal is probably my favourite colour. And I'm always looking for any shade of teal, basically. I don't mind if it skews more blue or skews more green. I really, really love teal. So yeah, that's obviously why it ended up as one of my first ever colours. Because I was like, I need this yarn for me. Let alone for other people. But it does appeal to a lot of people, I think, that colour. It goes with so many things.
Yes.
Like you can match it with something really bright. Or you can match it with something that's very similar to it.
But look at it with like the brown.
Yeah, it's incredibly versatile, I think.
I love that.
Yeah. And this one is on, again, a very different base, one that I don't have in the shop, but definitely will in the future because I love knitting shawls with it. So it's a single merino silk. And it's just really soft, and I don't know, I just really like the way the stitches come out when you have a single ply yarn. I don't know, they just sort of have it dyes very differently as well, like you get a real sort of glazed look to it where it's not as saturated. I find like you get a little bit of the internal part of the yarn popping through where the dye hasn't penetrated, so you do end up with a bit more variation and a bit more, I don't know, it's got a sort of sheen to it. I don't know why.
No,
as opposed to something that's twisted, yeah. But that's my other one. So I've got two more at home, West Knits ones, that aren't finished yet. Last year's MCAL and this year's.
No, I'm still in the triangles of this year's, sorry, the 2024 MCAL.
Yeah.
I'll get through them one day.
Yeah, I'll get there.
One day.
But I did use I've got one more shawl, sorry. We've got a big pile of shawls here now.
I know, it's coming up, right?
They're a bit of a mountain. But this one was a test knit for Lisa at 1121 Windmills.
Oh, yeah.
So this is all my yarns, but her incredible pattern, which was just like, it ticked every box for me for a pattern, because I like ones that have lots of different things to do, because I get a bit bored doing the same patterns over and over and over and over and over again. Whereas this one, it was like something new, you're getting through kind of one small bit and then you're looking forward to having a new challenge afterwards. So, and this is this colour here. So,
that's beautiful, and that looks great with the purple.
Oh yeah, that is that purple as well, yeah. So Jeff the Accountant is the dark purple, and Steed is the teal green.
Amazing.
So yeah, highly recommend that one. It's called Succulent Garden.
Yeah, we love Lisa.
Yeah, really, really nice knit. And knit up really quickly as well. I'm surprised, because it is quite, once it was finished, I was like, it's actually a lot bigger than I thought. But again, one that's really easy to wear. It's quite light, even though it is quite big. And I find that it goes with a lot of things. It just sort of,
Well, I think sometimes your brights can be a neutral.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think also because a lot of my clothes are quite bright, it kind of stands up to things as well. I think if I wore more neutrals with the clothes that I wear, they would look odd. They would look a bit strange. But I just like a bit of colour. Makes you happy.
No, I do.
Makes other people happy to look at as well. So that's my giant pile of shawls. Just a couple, just a few. But I'm using at the moment the leftovers from the sorry, that one was called the Glittering Snowscapes.
Oh yeah.
I think
it is Glittering Snowscapes.
Yeah. The one this year has a very similar name to last year's one, so I get confused. But I'm just knitting a plain jumper at the moment.
Ooh.
With the leftovers and a few other bits and bobs.
That fade is, it's gorgeous.
Trying to use up some odds and ends. So we're nearly finished the body on there. I don't knit a lot of garments because they scare me.
Well,
I find them quite intimidating.
I think that one looks great.
So that's going all right.
What pattern is that?
It's a so faded.
Oh, Andrea Mallory.
Yes, yeah.
Yep.
But then I've just done a plain sleeve. It's supposed to have a like a pearl,
like a
ribbed
textured,
textured
like
sleeve, but I've just done a plain.
I think it's reverse stockinette or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's coming along. That
I
one.
love a raglan.
And using up my last little bits of, because it was too good. It was too good a colour combo to only use once.
Yeah.
And I did have a few little odds and ends. One of them's run away.
We'll find it.
Which, that I've used in other shawls. So I've just gone, I'll wear all my yellows and pinks
Yeah.
to put into this one. But that's me. That's all my projects.
Amazing. I want to see this so faded when you're, well, you'll post it on
Yeah,
Instagram,
I
I'm
definitely
sure, when you're
will.
done.
Hopefully I don't ruin it.
Now, I always like to ask this next question because inevitably I learn something new.
Yep.
But who are some of, well, maybe I'll just say other than Susan, because we've already talked about Susan and she's amazing. Other favorite indie dyers?
Yeah, I like a lot of Perth ones, to be honest. There's some incredible dyers here. So the two that I go to is Tarina, who you've spoken to before.
Tarina's amazing.
Love and Speckles. Her yarns are insane. They are so beautiful. They're so inspiring. So the last mystery knit along I bought from her because I had just had surgery and I couldn't dye yarn for a couple of months. So I was like, I had a very clear vision of what I wanted. And I knew she had one of the colours that was exactly what I needed, and then she just happened to have the perfect one to go with it, which was like a very bright green and a really dark purple. It's similar to that one, but with a bit more red through it. Beautiful, stunning, so good. And I just feel like she's just constantly coming out with these incredible combinations and things I never would have thought of. And her gradients are stunning.
Yeah, they are.
I wish I had all the money in the world. I would buy every single one.
I know, same.
So definitely check that one out as well. And I've done, actually, here where we're filming today, I did a open day here, and that was the first time I met her in real life. So, and she's lovely.
She is.
So it's always nice to meet the people behind the yarn. The other one I really like is Dying to Knit. Her solids are incredible.
Yeah, Michelle, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I do have one shawl I didn't bring with me today, but the one shawl that I've made that's like a neutral, so I can wear it to work sometimes. And it was on a yak silk base, and oh my god, it's just
gorgeous.
Stunning, like a natural one, and another one that was like a deep dark red.
Yeah.
And they just were perfect together. So, yeah, I love her solids and her tonals are really, really beautiful. Something to strive for.
Yeah. And how about, you obviously love Stephen West. I think I'm a massive Stephen West fan as well. But are there any other designers that you gravitate towards?
Yeah, I don't tend to gravitate too much towards designers per se, but like individual patterns. But I do really like Letty's knits. Her shawls are so beautiful. They're very they look simple, but they're just, I don't know, they've just got something about them.
Yeah.
I've got a big wait list of ones of hers that I want to knit. I've made one of hers it was called Different Light. for my mother-in-law for her birthday. So I'm like, I want to make that one again for me. It was really beautiful. And again, it was a slight brioche stitch. It was like a tuck stitch.
Yes.
So I think that was just after I had literally just done the brioche section of the shawlography, and then I did that one. I was like, oh, this is an easier. Maybe I should have started here.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, it was a beautiful knit. And even like she's got some beautiful little tops, like short sleeve little jumpers, and I know that a lot of her patterns use like a linen blend as well. So when you actually see the way it looks on, it like drapes really beautifully, and so I've got a lot of hers that I want to make.
Amy, where can viewers find you?
I'm on Etsy at the moment. The goal, the stretch goal, is to get my own website up in the near future. That's a work in progress. When you can find time to do it. So I would very much like to move off of Etsy, because it does eat in a lot to your money. So but at the moment, I'm on Etsy, Cable Tie Knits, all one word, I believe. But everything that I have in stock is up there as well. So and obviously I update it when there's new stuff. And then I'm also at physical markets when possible. I haven't done any this year yet, but I do try to get to the Kaila Farmers Market, which is just down the road from where we are. I was there this morning actually, getting breakfast. So it's a really beautiful little market in North Perth. So I'm trying to get there once a month once I get back this year. And it's a really good mix of, like traditional farmers market stuff, but also a lot of artisanal stuff and craft, creative things like art and paintings and candles and all those things. So it's a really lovely market to go to. But yeah, and then any kind of craft ones that do pop up, I try to get to as well, because I do like doing those. So I'm on Instagram. That's my main social media as well. So,
and I'll have links to that below. Sorry, that's probably something I should have said at the beginning. There'll be links to where you can find Amy and all the other things that we've talked about today. So thank you, Amy, for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
It was really
nice.
Good. All right. Until next time, play with color and enjoy your craft. We'll see you later.